Is Luke actually that bad? That's what we're going to answer here today. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do think he is not crazy good, but he is definitely not bad. Like, there is definitely, especially in like gacha games, there'll be like a kind of a community consensus if you go like on the Discord, Reddit, things like that, where if someone is not the best, they'll be like, oh, this is dog shit, re-roll your account. And honestly, he's really not that bad. I would even say he's good, but he is definitely not the best. All right, I'm not gonna lie and try to blow smoke up your butt for that. He has his issues, and I think there are other characters that do a similar job, but just better. However, for at least a little bit of time, he is going to be our best single target green boy here, the order boy, right? And so that is nice. Let's actually go over his kit really quick. We'll go over quick builds, and then we'll kind of go over an idea for like what units, you know, he wants to run with. What's a team comp that would contain him? So first, biggest issue with this guy, single shot. Single shot is a picture of two guns, both firing bullets, both firing multiple bullets. 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially. It's called single shot, two guns. Brrr. This could have been rapid fire as well. I'm just saying, what a weird picture to choose for an attack called single shot. But unless he's shooting bullets out of the sky, but even then, it's whatever. I digress. He does not have the worst basic attacks, right? A lot of characters will have some pretty bad basic attacks. Even Kalipe has like the lash. But honestly, these are fine. Once you get the potential, they become bullets, so they will synergize with the rest of his kit. They are not busted or anything like that, but having the bullet tag is good. It'll make him work good with his brother as well. Shadow concealment, pure ass sandwich. Throw that in the trash as soon as you can. Bad card, pretty much just gets in his way. You never want to use this. You might use it, but that you only use it because it's the only defense card you drew and you're getting hit really hard. And even then, it might just be better to deal damage. So this one's bad. Rapid fire. This is the bread. This is the butter. This is pretty much everything. This is his best attack. I mean, I guess it depends, but this is his combo enabler and his main damage. Like, you can do more damage with something like Dance of the Demon, which we'll get to in a second, you know, and to finish around, like all this stuff. But rapid fire is what makes it all possible, basically. And it also does a good amount of damage on its own. So it does 50% damage 2 times. That sounds bad, but you create handgun bullets equal to the number of critical hits. So you can get up to 2 crits and you'll get 2 handgun bullets. This also has a built-in 50% crit chance. So this is pretty likely to crit. However, if you do not crit with this, he is a doo-doo sandwich. Like, he is actually, I've had like plus, I don't know, I probably have like an 80% chance to crit because I have like an upgraded card with some extra stuff on it. And I have a triple version of this where it shoots 3 times and he only crit 1 time. And it's like, oh my God, he sucks, bro. So he loses so much damage if he doesn't crit. But if he can crit, this card is fantastic. Handgun bullets, what are they? There's a bunch of them. When I say a bunch, I mean 4. They are random, but they're all pretty reasonably good. I would say I don't want to bring him as much into fights where he doesn't have an advantage, unless you're in a chaos run. But like, if you're going to do a fight with him, one of the reasons I really want to bring him where he has the type advantage more so than even normal units would is because one of the things he generates here is a 51% damage bullet, but it does plus 100% damage if it's a weakness attack. And you're going to be generating these a lot. So if you're not getting that bonus effect here, it can be kind of lame because sometimes the Magnum shot is just like not that much damage. And if they don't have a shield, this is already not doing anything. The Mark is actually pretty good. The Mark is probably the best bullet, but this is, if you don't want the silver shot to go to waste. So he's going to be a little narrow in that regard. So you kind of want him to be in a situation where you're fighting guys that are weak to green, obviously, but him even more so, and you need to be landing crits. You really got to make sure he has the gear and ideally the partner that is able to get him crits. Because once he's getting crits, he becomes way, way better. As far as epiphanies for this card, they're honestly all pretty good. You can go a weird direction where you have 1 and it's 150% damage. And it's a guaranteed crit, so you always get 1 bullet. But it's just like, yeah, it's a guaranteed crit at 150% damage for, like, it's a good card, but I feel like the triple, I feel like this is what you want. This is what I want anyway. Like, this one is cool because it becomes a bullet. It costs 0. Triple fit. Like, this is a great card, but this, it loses the ability to get the bullets, right? This is pretty much always what you want to get, I think. Yes, it's less damage, but it attacks 3 times, and you can get up to 3 bullets. What makes this so good also is how well it pairs with, like, morale, right? Morale will take this 30% up to 50%. So if you're able to run like Ray with him, for example, and get that 4 morale, that 80% boost, this is still hitting for like what? It's 80% damage plus 30%. That's 110. That's math, baby, times 3. Then if you can crit all 3, right, you're doing the 330% damage. Then you're getting 3 bullets, all of them getting additional damage as well. This is he pairs very well with morale in general, but this card, an extra hit, is also very good. However, if you're not going all in on the morale path, then honestly, just extra damage on the 2 hits and even higher crit chance. Then you draw cards equal to critical hits. It's like awkward, but it is still good. So this is the one I really want though, that triple hit. That one is big for me. But overall, even the baseline rapid fire, very, very good. Stealth reload. This is a card that's just worse than rapid fire. It's rapid fire, but it doesn't deal damage. It's guaranteed to get 2 bullets, and it is nice when you get them both, right? You would rather have 2 rapid fire, but that's a little harder to do. So having a rapid fire and a stealth reload is good. You are still able to spend 1 energy to use a skill and then do 2 attacks. Obviously, this is synergistic with Hugo. But in general, I wish it had a little more oomph to it, but once you get to the epiphanies, then you get the 3 bullets, 2 bullets this turn, 2 bullets next turn. Every turn you get 1 bullet. This would be so much nicer if it gave you 1 bullet the turn you did it, and then 1 bullet every turn after that as well. A lot of skills do that. I don't know why this one doesn't. 5 bullets, but it costs 2, and then it exhausts. I don't know. But I do kind of like the 30% chance of the 2 handgun bullets. This is pretty good. So basically all 3 of these are good, and even the generic ones are pretty reasonable in this situation because you can get the +1 or +2 morale for a turn. That's pretty good because it'll make these both do extra damage and it'll synergize with the rest of the kit. Overall, I wish it had a little more initial power because it feels like rapid fire but worse a lot of the time, but rapid fire but worse is still one of his better cards because it's very good. Seize the opportunity. I don't love this card. It's 100% shield, which is it's not that good, but it's kind of similar to Barrel's. The reason is I actually think Barrel's version of this card is better because yes, it stacks and this stacks as well, but Barrel doesn't need to attack every turn. He doesn't have retain like Barrel does. So he actually, when he draws these cards, he actually needs to use them the turn he draws them, or you're going to have to go through the deck again to get them all up again, right? Whereas Barrel can use this thing and then just retain it until the right turn. And if she draws another one, then they'll stack and it'll still be good. And the shield is like a nice bonus. This having lead is nice because sometimes it's 0. And 120% damage to the next bullet card is cool, but there's not a whole lot that you really, none of your bullets will have multiple hits, basically, right? Dance of the Demon doesn't inherently have bullet on it, and it doesn't upgrade to have bullet. This card doesn't get epiphanies. This card can get bullet, but then you lose the ability to get more bullets. And so this card feels like it's not the best card in general. 120% damage for 0 is still fine. It's good. But I really wish it synergized more with like the combo aspect of his build. I would like this card to be slightly redesigned to be a little bit different, maybe even have lead and retain so you can try to use it exactly when you want it instead of like you just have to use it when it comes up, I guess, and then whatever. But it's okay. It doesn't really fit in with the rest of his kit, in my opinion, to be that much. But again, this is bullet card, so if there's other characters such as Lucas or other characters they release with bullets, or like Renoa, right, maybe she can use a bullet card that attacks a whole bunch. I don't have Renoa, but this could be good as like supporting the bullet team, even though it's not that necessarily good on him specifically. Dance of the Demon is easily his highest damage card, but it is very, very combo-y, meaning you have to have things set up right to make it work. So do you want to run Nia with him to really try to set up these perfect turns where you could do a ton of damage to a single target? Maybe it's like fine, but the thing is, it's so unbelievably good when it just happens to work out. I don't know if it's worth trying to force it to work out all the time. So what does it do? 50% damage plus 1 hit equal to the number of bullet cards used this turn. So if you get like, obviously if you have like a perfect turn, right? You rapid fire, you get 2, maybe 3 bullets. You stealth reload, you get 2, maybe 3 bullets. So you have This doesn't count as a bullet, but you could even have these. But you get 3 bullets, 6 bullets. Now this is hitting plus 6 times at 50%. If you are able to get morale, each of those, you know, it's going to go from 50% to 70% to 90%. So it scales super well with morale and using bullets. And then this thing can do an absolute absurd, I mean, actually an absurd amount of damage. The issue is you can draw it and just get a bad draw, and it just does 50% damage for 1 energy. And then he feels like his big payoff is not really working that well, which can be kind of awkward. So if, again, this is another card, retain is such a powerful keyword. If you could save this until it was really at its best, that would be so unbelievably good. I will say the upgrades tend to be pretty good. This one makes it so it's all attack cards, so it's way less likely to whiff. And this is going to start something that synergizes absolutely crazy with like Mei Lin, where she's going to use her punch. She's going to punch. She's going to pull them back, punch, pull them back, punch. I mean, Mei Lin could use like actually 5, like she could use between 4 and 6 just attacks in a turn on her own, let alone if you're able to get some bullets as well. I mean, this could hit like 9-10 times. This could actually be phenomenal in a team built around it, but it is still combo-y. When you don't have retain, you gotta kind of keep that in mind. Extra damage makes it so it's always, you know, you only need to get 1 extra hit on it for it to be like okay, 150%. You really want minimum of 2 extra hits, even at the 75%, for it to be like, okay, I'm excited about using this card. The weakness, again, kind of lean into that idea where you're using the bullets, and then this is just a better version of that one. An hour? How long has this video been going? Only 12 minutes. We're fine. Yeah, I play the game when I'm not recording. I will say the 1 hit equal to the number of bullet cards used this turn and plus 50% shield. What a weird ass shield thing. I mean, I guess I do like this because if they're gonna hit you really hard, this allows you to just completely forego it and just be like, you know what, screw it, I'm going all in on damage. Attack. Then you still might be able to shield for like 500%. Maybe not 500%, but like 250%. Is that good enough? I don't know. This one seems like a major meme, and I would probably recommend not taking it, but I am tempted to take it one time. This, though, Dance of the Moon, this is the truth, bro. This card is so good. This is basically the only time this card is not insane is like specifically if you have a perfect combo turn. If you're able to get 6 bullets and you have the attack one and you actually have Mei Lin there and she's attacking, then you can get 10 hits, then this card's obviously better. In almost every other situation, this card is actually the truth, my man. 50% damage, 6 times, always 6 times, it doesn't matter. If you draw this card and you have to use it for 3, even having to use it for 3 for 300% damage is totally not what you want. I acknowledge that. But it's not like completely awful in all situations, because you might be able to actually execute a boss by using all of your energy on a reasonable attack. If you get even 1 bullet, this goes down to 2. Suddenly that's pretty good. If you get down to 2 bullets, 1 cost to deal an additional 6 attacks. And if obviously you get to 3 bullets, it becomes free. So at 3 bullets, this is still, you're basically getting 2 attacks per bullet, you know, per energy kind of thing. Like if you put in 3 bullets, this becomes free. You could use this. These other attacks would hit 4 times. This is hitting 6 times. So this is insane. Very, very good. It even goes down to free, and it's not that hard to make it free, but even if it doesn't go free, it's still good. Works incredibly well with morale. This is the one you want, I would say 90% of the time, but I'm still not mad about pretty much any of these over here. This is the only one that's a meme, but overall, the card upgrades pretty darn well. It doesn't fully lose its weakness of a bad draw, but that's why I think this one is so good, because your bad draws are so much harder to come by, and it's overall pretty good. And then Finisher Round is kind of like, it's like his super unique card, you know, the one, you can only have 1 of them. It is a bullet card, and it can't get an epiphany, so it's like the super card, right? It's good, but it could do some good work. But again, this card is extra bad in, like, sometimes you just draw this card in the first round and you just can't use it, and it's just a dead draw. That is very bad. But what I will say, after using 5 handgun bullets, remove unusable. This card is considered unusable, but once you use 5 handgun bullets, it will remove that, and you can use it for 0, right? And it does 200% damage for 0 cost, and it's a bullet. That's all pretty good. 200% damage for 0 is pretty darn reasonable, but it's not crazy. But it is pretty nice to just get this sometimes. This will track bullets while it's in your deck, graveyard, anywhere, and in your hand. You don't need to play all 5 bullets while it's in your hand. As long as you play 5 handgun bullets, it will work. So this card is a little awkward because it doesn't synergize with other bullet cards. It doesn't even synergize with your single shot. It only synergizes with specifically the handgun bullets. It doesn't synergize with Luke. I don't think her dirge bullets count as handgun bullets. So this card is like super awkward, but when it works, it does feel really good, and it just adds an extra stack to the Dance of the Demon. So, well, let's take a look at his ego skill really quick. It's okay, 300% damage, 1 target, and plus 15% damage for each card in hand. Let's say you have 10 cards in hand. Your hand is full. 415% damage? Is that right? Or because that's what I imply. I haven't had 10 cards in my hand when I've used this, so it's not usually that big. But like, if you just look at, I don't know, barrel, 400% to all enemies for 5. This is 5, and it's like 450% to one enemy. This is bad. This is just like not that good at all. Like, you'll use it sometimes because it'll execute and you have the ego points to spend. Like, it's still an ego skill, and ego skills are inherently powerful, but as far as ego skills go, I don't know, man. I'm not impressed. I will say, if you do get it, I think it's level 3. It goes up to 400%. Sorry, it goes up to 350% plus 25%. Now we're looking at like, what, 600% damage, something like that. That's like better. I'm still not like blown away with it as a whole. So the ego skill, I think it should cost like 3. If I'm being honest, I think his ego skill should cost like 3. 4 I would accept, but 5 just is too much for this effect. If it hit all targets, maybe, but it seems like the damage is too low. I don't know why it seems so low. It doesn't even have like a bonus to crit hit. Like, if it had like bonus crit damage, bonus crit chance, or something to like make this actually like a bigger modifier, I guess, but I'm not super impressed with that. Plus, you want to use it at the start of the turn, not the end of the turn, before you use your cards. So even it's hard to calculate if you actually need to use this to kill stuff, because you might be able to just use all your cards and win. So it could be a clunky skill. And honestly, that's kind of where Owen comes, not Owen, sorry. Freudian sleep. I love you, Owen. This is where Luke kind of comes in. He's powerful, but he is extra prone to bad draws. So you definitely want a character that can help minimize that. But and that will help, but you still can't guarantee it, right? There are other characters. Let's just talk about Mei Lin for a quick second, who she has this card, draw 2 basic cards. So she could just draw her cards and do good stuff and make them free. You could even get the one that lets you move them, and that'll move them from the graveyard, the exile zone, like where before it goes into the graveyard, like the discard pile. And so she can, like, her bad draws are really low. And her buff card that makes your damage very high has retain on it. So it's like, and her thing that boosts her damage and makes her whole kit come online is a Outbreak of War. So it starts in your opening hand. So it's like, comparatively to Luke, she is very consistent in dealing really high damage, and she doesn't really need to wait for a perfect combo turn. She just needs to draw her cards and she starts doing her thing. Where Luke is an issue is, first, you have the awkwardness of you really need to crit with rapid fire. You need to crit with rapid fire. If you're not critting with rapid fire, then you already have a non-start because you're not generating the bullets. And then if you don't generate handgun bullets, you're never going to be able to use finisher round. This is going to be way weaker. It's just like his whole entire kit falls apart, right? But let's say you get past that because, you know, you have gear and he's a higher level. You got all the partners. Everything is good. Then you still kind of get into every card's a little bit weird, which is they're all good, but they're all a little weird. Like this, the 2 handgun bullets, it's still just like a bad rapid fire. So it's like you're really trying to if you dupe rapid fire, he gets way better, by the way. So you're gonna, like, this is okay, but it's not exactly what you want. I feel like this should be the card with shield on it, and this one shouldn't have shield. It should just be 0 or something. This feels like a card that should absolutely have like shield on it or something, a little extra, just something to make it a little bit cooler. But it is a little bit, it helps his kit come together, but I wish it was a little bit more. And seize the opportunity. It's also like, you don't have a big payoff that you really want to use. I was hoping that there would be like a bullet card that has like 3 hits on it that you could then use this, but also even then, you have to use this, and then like this has to be the first card of your turn if you want it to be 0, if you get the lead effect. If you get the equipment and it just plays it, that's nice. But then the next bullet card used immediately uses it. So it kind of like is an awkward card because it really restricts your turn. First, this comes up, and if it costs 0, you want to use it. Then the next bullet you use is automatically going to get the bonus. Maybe you wanted to execute. Like, you just have to be careful when using this card. And if an enemy has like a really, really short timer, you don't necessarily want to spend 2 actions to just get the turn started. So this card is a little bit clunky. The shield's not really that relevant. The 120% damage is nice though, but really you're looking for the gear that'll cast this for free. And it's basically a 0 cost 120% attack, which is fine. It doesn't blow me away until you, but again, this is probably going to be a support card for someone else. And Dance of the Demon is clunky as well because this card can be literally insane or completely dog shit. Like, the difference between hitting 1 time for 50% damage, it means you're literally not going to use the card unless you have no other cards in your hand because they were discarded or something. Or it's going to hit, like, you could get it to hit like literally 10 times. It would like a team built completely around it. And then it's like absolutely bonkers, especially if you get an epiphany and you're doing 700%, 900% damage for 1 energy. That's really, really good. That's not even to count all the other hits you did. So absolutely crazy skill. But again, the floor on it is so low that it makes it a little awkward to me. Although as long as, like, if it had retain, you could at least use single shot and then use this and get a little bit of damage, or single shot rapid fire and then do this. There's a bigger range, but if you draw this and you don't draw bullets, it's dead, bro. And it's such a good card otherwise. And finisher round is also clunky. Sometimes this is in your opening hand. You can't cast 5 bullets, and so then you have 20 more cards in your deck you got to go through before you can actually get this card. And it's just like, I've drawn this card and I just couldn't use it. And then the second time I draw it, I could use it, but then I got it early again in the next deck and I couldn't use it the third time. So it was like a dead draw. It 2 out of the 3 times I drew it. And a lot of the times I draw this card, I mean, I've done whole runs with this card in it, and I've been able to cast it like twice, where it's just like the enemy is just about dead anyway, so it was overkill and I could have killed him with something else, or it's like the enemy died before I could even use this card, because it's not always usable. And even when it is usable, it's still just a 200% damage, which is nice, but I mean, it's not like blowing my mind. And it doesn't work with other bullet cards. It only works with specifically the handgun bullet cards. So there's a lot of clunkiness here, right? But I don't want to undersell that he is actually good. Like, this is what's so weird, is that despite all this, he actually has the ability to do some insane amounts of damage. It just has to line up a little bit right. So one of my favorite characters to pair with him is actually Calipe. So, and mostly Calipe, well, she's good at everything, right? But the absolute protection will put retain on all the cards in your hand, meaning if you go down to like 5 cards or whatever, 4 cards, you get to skip your turn because you don't have your full combo. Then you get to draw 5 fresh cards. Maybe you could use a partner to draw another card. It makes it way more likely to get like that perfect turn. So if you could put retain on stuff, that's very, very good. Obviously, Nia is deck manipulation. Cassius is, I haven't used him, he's level 1, but he's like deck manipulation and drawing. As far as partners, so far, I've been all in on Akkad here because he gives your bullet cards extra damage, and when you land your first critical hit, you get more damage. But most importantly, for only 2 ego points, he gives 25% crit chance for 1 turn. But I'm telling you, that makes this 50% go up to 75. Very likely. I think it's 100% crit chance if you have 1 memory fragment without any substats, just like a main stat is critical chance. So very low gear requirements to make this a guaranteed crit. Plus, then all your other bullets are getting a bunch of crit too. They're all at like 50%. So you're critting a whole bunch, which is awesome. And it lets you focus a little bit more on crit damage. Now it is, again, a little bit clunky because this may not show up right away. You may not have the ego points, or you may want to use it more than once in a fight. But this is still, it has been the best for me for this character specifically. So yes, I honestly think he is just like a worse version of Mei Lin, but he has his own niche. So one, Mei Lin is arguably the best damage dealer, single target damage dealer in the entire game, right? She's like, so if you're just not as good as literally the best character in the game, that doesn't make you bad, right? You could still be an A tier and have just another character be S tier, and you could still be A tier, right? That's totally viable. So I don't think he's as good as her. And I think they are pretty fair comparisons because just they kind of fulfill similar roles. They both attack a bunch. They both, I mean, whatever they crit, but like she can implant her weakness, so she's not even necessarily worse in the fights that he would be good in, because they have similar mechanics and that. But where Luke does shine is basically in some teams that Mei Lin don't synergize with, and he has the bullet synergies. One, he has an easier chance to get crits, which is good. So, apples to apples, they're going up against the same enemy. His first attack will deal double damage if they're weak to order. Only her second and onward will. He's also going to have a higher % chance to crit. He gets to use the different partners, so he has like his own niche, and he could potentially have a much bigger explosive turn, but the consistency is a little bit low. But again, he's kind of got good bullet synergy, right? He has a lot of the thing. Next bullet card does extra damage, increase the number of hits by the number of bullet cards that you get. These are bullets, so he pairs very well with his brother. And I know it's like a little bit weird to be like, oh, well, he pairs really well with a not very good character. He actually is a pretty good character. It just like, and as they come out with another character that can use bullets, he might pair with them very well. And he probably pairs with Renoa very well as in addition to this, if I'm being honest. I just don't have Renoa. So Luke is mostly it's kind of weird to call him a support, but he's like, if you have a team with at least 2 characters that really care about bullets, he is going to be much better than most characters because he cares about bullets. They care about bullets. They have an inherent synergy that other characters aren't going to have. And honestly, he is just good. Again, he may not be literally S tier, like at all, but Mei Lin might be S tier, but it's totally fine to just use a character because they're cool and they're fun, And I think where he'll really start to deviate from Mei Lin will be as you actually get dupes of him, because he starts getting a lot more consistent damage over the course. Mei Lin is still a little bit combo-y. She could still do some hits, but unless you have the synergy cards, she's not going to be able to do an insane amount of damage, and neither can Luke at first. But when you start getting these other cards, one, finish around just gets more powerful and it goes off more frequently. Still a little clunky, but this is the one I wanted to show it. When he uses a bullet card 3 times, you get 2 more bullets in hand. So that's already just like, all right, when you use 3, you get 2. They have much less attack, but again, it's about the using of the cards that boost the other cards. Now when you use it'll make it so you can turn on your finisher round. It'll make it so you can do the demon strike, whatever it's called, with even more hits. And this can only trigger once per turn, but that means you're just going to get a lot more attacks and bop, 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 bop. And of course, this is going to synergize even more with like a lot with morale. So if you have Rey, you have probably Luke. These are very synergistic units together. And then at 4 and 6 are the big ones. Obviously, duh. But like, this is going to be a very different... He's going to feel very different when he gets to this stage. Because yes, every time you use 3 bullets, you're getting 2 bullets. Then every time... Well, let's read what target analysis does. Every time you use a bullet card, you get 10% more damage on your bullets for the rest of the turn. Up to 4 times. So, and it goes up to 15%. Which means it's 15, 30, 60% more damage on all your bullets. You use 3, you get 2, 60% damage more per bullet. Not to mention, every time you use 12 bullets, you also get an additional big bullet, which is a guaranteed crit, 204% damage, super big boy round. So he's really going to be like, he's going to feel like he has 2 guns. Right now, it kind of feels like he has 1 gun. In some turns, he'll like pull out his other gun and he'll use them both. But when he gets here, this is where I think he really will divert from Mei Lin, and he'll just do more attacks per turn than any other character is able to do. Because, and consistently, maybe in one specific turn, one character could do more hits than him, but over the course of 3 turns in a row, like, he's just bullets. And so I think Luke, fundamentally, I think is a late bloomer. He's a little bit gear dependent. His cards could be a little bit clunky to use, but once you get the high, once you're able to crit, you get a lot of crit damage. You get some dupes in him over just naturally because he's in the standard pool. He is going to actually be one of the best, if not the best, single target damage dealers in the game. But he is fundamentally a late bloomer, and we're not in the late stages of the game. So is Luke that bad? I say no. I do think that he is probably a B tier. Arguably an A tier, but I think he's probably in B tier right now. Totally viable, and he's used in some very fun bullet teams, but they're just not as inherently powerful as just like some of the other teams that are out there yet with the level of support. But we'll see what the future holds. I like Luke a lot. I plan on using him a lot. I think he's fun, but I really want to get a couple dupes in him to really pop off and actually kind of go extra hard. But we're not there yet. Anyway, guys, much love for Platypus and for Ploutopus. I will see you on the flip-flops. Bye!